Oh, bugger, I pulled it out too far. Oh well, that'll learn you. Oh, you mongrel. That was meant to just come out by itself. It's just a sprocket in there. There we go. But I've pulled it off the brushes, so I'm going to have to pull that cap and get them back in. Oh well. So, I mean, look at this armature. It's not really the best. I cleaned up the contact area for the brushes a bit, but the fact that it spun the other day, these bearings are pretty rough. I mean, I've tried to find a whole starter, but just hard to find. Wreckers don't have old vehicles anymore, and so I don't need to actually pull that off. I needed to pull this off, but without the armature was meant to stay in this casing, so I didn't have to do the brushes again. But it is what it is. So, I was meant to buy some grease the other day, but I was over being in Christchurch by the time I'd finished loading up that Range Rover. 40 minutes already, gosh. So this is the armature, not the armature, sorry, the arm that depresses the sprocket out. So it'll push down on this little shaft, which will then engage the starter gear there whilst spinning. So that's what's going on. So the solenoid's doing two things. It's forcing this down by the EMF creates a magnetic pull, and it's also spinning the armature through the brushes up in here, which are being energized by this one, which is, it's cooling down a little bit now, which is attached to that one there. Now, it won't reach up to that other one, so it can only go on one way, right? So there's no way I could have just reversed that polarity. I mean, there is a way I could have reversed that polarity, but what I'm saying is that the spring, they're the holes for the springs that go on like that, okay? And this cable here, which is basically from your ignition switch in the cab, has this one here on it, and this should face the outside of the starter like that, as it does. So the spring's facing the right way now. So I don't think I could have reversed the polarity there. So let's get the, hey puppy, she's having a great time running around, which is good, burning off energy. Aren't you, sweetheart? Hey. Although I am still organising things, I've got things pretty spread out at the moment. So I've got tools still in a toolbox, I think. Maybe in the back of the ute. I might have emptied the ute. I thought I emptied the ute. So this cable here is it's attached to these windings, these brushes. Now perhaps I actually put this back together wrong. Perhaps that was what was causing the problem. From around to be a little bit open, I'm intending on starting another channel once I get this one underway, and the reason for that is this one shows one side of who I am, and I'm not the sort of person who really wants attention, and there's reasons for that. Now this isn't just a impulsive, decision or anything, because I'm desperate at the moment. I mean, I'm in a bit of a tough spot. I'm going through a bit of stuff at the moment, and that's okay. I'm getting through it. I'm working it out. But, I'm not going to make any qualms about the fact that I want to, monetize and actually try and make a go of this in a good way, in a way that's good for me. My hope is to obviously do something that's worthwhile for folks to become a part of and enjoy. There's no point in doing something just for your own sake, bugger, and betterment without, you know, like if you're a content creator, like that's really what this comes down to, I guess. Well, for me anyway, I know that there's some real a-holes on YouTube, especially all the AI nonsense, who they don't care about their viewers. They're just trying to make money. I'm not going to lie and say I'm not trying to make money. I am going to be doing this with the intent purpose of hopefully building a small income for myself. I don't have any delusions of grandeur that I'm going to be the next, I don't know who's big. PewDiePie, is he still a thing? I never watched him, but I know he was big. I don't want to say Mr. Beast. I hate that guy. I hated him long before it came out that he was a bit of a psycho. I don't actually know what the story is with that guy. I'm not trying to jump on any sort of bandwagon there. I just never liked the guy. And if you stick around and get to know me, you'll learn why I had that opinion of him. But what I'm saying is that I'm not making any qualms about not wanting to capitalise on this, because I do. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But it's not something that is, just on a whim. It's not I think I'll just, not work anymore and make YouTube videos for a living. I've actually thought about doing this for almost a decade now, at least since 2016. But as you'll find out as we go along why I didn't, the reasons will become quite clear, and why I haven't up until this point. But I can't it doesn't want to be touching there. I just got to make sure that they are in the channel correctly and there's nothing interfering anywhere. When I say I'm going through some stuff at the moment, it's been something in my mouth. It's been an ongoing thing. This isn't anything new for me. I've been dealing with not just what I'm going through at the moment, but a real good amount of other things for quite some time now, just due completely to other people and how the way this world is set up is that the majority of people out there are users and abusers, and they do not care one way or another for another human being except for what they can take from that human being. And I'm not like that. I'm not about that. I can't stand those people. Part of what I'm dealing with, which has got, well, it's indirectly due to people, but I'm burnt out. I'm severely burnt out. And I will blame myself, although, as I say, it's indirectly due to other people. But I am severely burnt out because I overdid it when I went to Australia. And I worked and worked and worked and worked and didn't stop working until I was about to go crazy. And that was because I was in a fairly, I guess, desperate, if you will, situation. Maybe it wasn't as desperate as I felt it was, but nevertheless, I did what I did out of desperation, necessity. So it feels like it's turning okay. See that? End bearing should be right there. I don't think it'd slip down any further. Once this goes in, it should be okay. So let's just nip these up. So as I was saying before, I went through some videos and I am trying to get some good videos up here. I want this channel to be purely automotive, and I want folks to enjoy what I enjoy. Even if it's just, you guys are kicking back, having a cup of tea or a beer or coffee, whatever it is you're doing, I am hopeful that this is the hope is that this is an enjoyable channel for you to come to, and like I say in my description, blunder around and stuff up. I'm not trying to show off anything here or be the perfect mechanic or anything. I'm just someone who loves doing this sort of stuff. Even when you get frustrated and you swear and you curse and you've had enough for the day, I still love it. Otherwise I wouldn't keep coming back to it. Believe me, I would not. It would start to get to being masochistic in a way, I guess. So but what I've noticed, and this is why I kind of went through and dumped a few videos today, just deleted them outright, is that I tend to blend what's on my mind while I'm working. And as I was saying, I want this to be purely automotive and enjoyable from that perspective. I don't want to... It doesn't sound nice, eh? When I was younger, I was an outdoor instructor, and I really enjoyed encouraging people out of their comfort zones. There's no way I can't use them. That gasket's just come off. That's really weird. And I really enjoyed seeing folks achieve things that they didn't think they could achieve. Okay, and that part of that was, that's just who I am. But that got lost. Not entirely, not 100% lost, but lost enough that I withdrew, and I don't want to share that side of myself anymore with people. And it's not that I think that's a selfish thing of me. I don't think this spring matters. I'm just going to use this other spring one more time, because I think it was the way that I had that cap on. It might be, actually, no, that's the right ones. And yeah, it's not that I want to, what was I saying? It's not that it ever fully disappeared. It's just that it wasn't needed. I had to go on with life. I had to survive. And that side of me wasn't needed in the world. Even when I thought it was, people are funny. They don't want to hear someone who looks at things differently. They don't want to hear someone who has a different opinion, different understanding of things that they think they've got a good grasp on. And I'm not talking about being any sort of contrarian or, oh, I know things you don't sort of thing. That's not what I'm just talking about. Like, one thing I've learned in my life, that I've observed even, is that people are so quick to judge and blame others for their issues, really, and very, very slow, if at all. I say slow as they never do, look at themselves. And so when someone like me comes along and goes, well, have you thought about the fact that, it's probably good that if you take some accountability for that, like, that probably wouldn't have happened if you had this attitude or whatever. I'm being very vague here because I'm not thinking of anything in particular at the moment, but I'm just saying that in my life, like when I was younger, I had no problem making friends. Making friends is easy if you are a friend-worthy person. But what I learned in life is that just because I know how to be a friend, just because I might have the qualities that people look for in a friendship, and I can, create an affinity with people where we get on, and because I always try to find middle ground with folks. I love harmony, I love getting on with people, I don't like conflict. And what I soon started to learn, this isn't just in a few years, this is over a lifetime, this is many, many years of doing this and recognising the same patterns in people, is that people were always quick to take from you what you offered, very slow, if ever, to return it. And on top of that, I have not ever seen one person, I have not observed one person out of all the people that I've known ever growing. They've all somehow just gotten worse. And some of these people were very close to me, some of these were family members. They've never sought any individual or personal growth in their lives. And most people I know would rather project blame on the world and systems and individuals than take personal responsibility for their lives. And for someone who, I've done that same thing again. Oh my goodness. It's so hard to actually see when it's on this angle. I'm going to turn it. But the point is that, this is where people just do not want to take responsibility for their own flaws, their own weaknesses, their own areas of life that are actually making them miserable, and they just want everyone else around them to be miserable with them. And so I have deliberately and willfully isolated myself from that side of things because I'm over it. And I don't really have any friends. I'm okay with that. I don't need them. I learned that a long time ago. I want connection, don't get me wrong, and there are times when I am lonely. They are usually fleeting, they're just, I might be enjoying something, and but it would be good to have someone to enjoy this with, whether it was a wife or just a good buddy. But I've backed away from friendships that were decades old. When I say backed away, ended them, because I just watched these people over the course of their lifetime and my lifetime just become terrible people. and I just didn't want to have any part of it. And I mean, that's got really only a small portion to do with what I'm going through. When I say I'm going through, I'm not in a good place at the moment. It's only a small portion of it. Right. Now this definitely can't reach over to that. So there's no way I reverse that polarity. I'm doing something wrong here now. Not too sure what's going on here. I did have the polarities around the wrong way. And you can do that. So I'm just going to put it down to the solenoid. I mean, there's no markings on them. But that strap, that main strap, still warm. I stretched it and it went up to the other terminal, and now when I bridge it, it comes out nice. So I'm going to let that cool down again on the vise,